Welcome to Red Pill Diaries, it's Craig. The last few days, it's been coming clear to me that Scotland might not be a country that I can never live again because the people I'll be surrounded by, the majority, are such fucking morons. I already know that there's a handful of unionists, even in my family, that I like as people. One I hang out with a lot in Japan, my cousin Philip. I cannot understand why anyone would not want a country to be independent. But I can sympathize with his reasoning because the way he was brought up in a conservative family still makes no sense, because a rational person should be able to go beyond that. Just like when you're brought up by some bad parents and people blame, oh yeah, I had a bad upbringing. It's your job as an adult to move past the psychosis and neuroses of your parents and become a person in your own right with some fucking, be able to stand by if you can't be rational, at least be able to give a rational explanation for your irrational thoughts, right? But anyway, I digress. It's the fact that on the other side of the coin, it's this political alignment that's happening all around the world. And I noticed it with people in Venezuela when I was talking about, the coup that was taking place over there with Juan Guaido, obviously a US puppet, obviously not supported by the majority. You had the same situation happening all over the world, in every country, well, almost every country, not everywhere, but almost everywhere. And in Scotland, it's just particularly bad because I'm noticing what the people are aligning themselves with is Joe Biden, who's no friend to Scotland. Obama, he came on TV and literally said to us, Scotland, regarding independence, it's not the right time yet. That wasn't published. That wasn't broadcast across the whole of the UK. It was only broadcast in Scotland, live, by the way. And if you try to find that now, this isn't me just spinning shit. Other people remember this as well. You cannot find that anywhere. It's been scrubbed on the internet, and there's a very good reason for that, because it wouldn't look very good if it went out to the world that Obama had basically said to the leader of the apparent free world that had to go to war to break free from English control, would be telling a country that is far older than America, the United States, that they shouldn't be able to break free from this oppressive regime, the same oppressive regime that they broke away from and had to war for, that we wouldn't have to lift a gun just to vote, So it's fucking ridiculous. But anyway, the thing that I'm going on about here is that people are buying into this political dichotomy everywhere, and it really is a case of, if you believe in, I don't know, if you believe, there's one thing that's a little bit different, and that is the Israel-Palestine situation. You will find people that align with the Israeli side on both sides of the fence, left and right wing, because, for example, there's a lot of right wingers that are real anti-Jew, and then again, there's a lot of right wingers that are so anti-Muslim they wouldn't back anything that any country like Palestine would they wouldn't recognize their right to be a free country. So there is the occasional, I suppose it's just confusion, isn't it, when it comes to alignment. No, I suppose that's actually a slightly good thing, the fact that people can actually believe something different than the mainstream narrative. In other words, if Hillary Clinton likes X, Y, and Z, then you should like X, Y, and Z too, because that's the kind of tribalism that we're seeing. Now, the tribalism in Scotland is just going to a whole new level, because it is literally a case where, because Donald Trump, let me fill you in if you're not aware, Donald Trump had some issues with a golf course in Scotland. Alex Salmond, the previous First Minister, I think pulled a strategically bad move and misaligned himself with Trump. Later on, after Scotland failed to vote for independence, I still believe it was about 60% yes, but we failed to. Well, we accepted the results of a blatantly rigged election, right? But I'm not going to get into that today. What it's really about is the people who are now seemingly around about a 70% majority. Back in 2014, it was only about a 60% majority of people that wanted independence. And of course, when it went to the polls, because there was so much rigging, just like what's happened now in America, from both sides. Trump's side, as you can blatantly see in the stats, that the Republicans, I can't remember the states, they have rigged a few states. You can't get the absentee voters being like 80, 90% in any state in America for Republican. And you also can't get, one of them was Michigan, I think it was. Michigan, Iowa, and Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania was 98.8% for Democrats. That's impossible. That can't happen. You know it's rigged. So both sides have rigged it again. Now that alone should call the whole thing into question. And well, they say that Trump called it. I'm still not convinced that he's. You know, they're all actors. They're all just giving you a drama to watch, right? But when you point this out, just for me pointing out that Biden cheated and Republicans cheated, all the people see that are on one side is I'm anti-Trump or I'm anti-Biden. That's all they see. Even if the comment itself, I try to put the things in caps, and I don't want to do that. If you can't put it in bold, you've got to put it in caps, you know what I mean? To draw the moron eyes to it, so you only get the occasional person who says, oh, actually, he has mentioned both. He has mentioned the fact that he only had really hope for Tulsi Gabbard, and even she, you know, look, I know all politics is fake, but sometimes they can make a small difference. It would have made a small difference with her because she was anti-war, and that's why they didn't allow her to. That's why they took someone who was like 4 places in popularity behind Tulsi Gabbard and made her VP, and she's going to be president soon. Because the reality is, regardless of what all these Q-tards think, this situation with the ballots and the watermarks, it's not going to lead to anything. Biden will still win. They lost the House. The Democrats lost the House and the Senate. They focused so much on getting Trump out of there. All it was about is getting Trump out. Now, whether you believe this or not, both Republicans and Democrats made that happen. It's hard to see when I say made it happen. It's like WWF, I've said before. There's aspects of truth and most of it's fake. Trump probably even tripped himself up, but they want to put on a show for you, you know. So when it really comes down to it, look at John Bolton. Last 2 or 3 months since Trump fired him, he's been saying negative stuff. A few months ago when they killed the Iranian general, that was neocons. They're trying to. You can see the face on the, not the press secretary, there's one of the stooges that came up after General Soleimani got killed, and you could see that they had a bollocking. You can just read it on people's faces. They were very flustered. They had gone against what Trump wanted to do. They'd gone to basically gone to war. He's trying to undo wars. They're trying to create them. And that's not because he necessarily wants to go against the military-industrial complex. It's because he wants to free up some money to spend on other things, or maybe even line his friends' pockets, because they're all corrupt. Trump, no exception, right? But when I look at Scotland, it's got people say, "What's this?" People say, "What's it got to do with this page here, this independence page?" They'll all post things about Biden winning, but as soon as you post something about there being fraud, what's it got to do with the election page? The funny thing about the post I did yesterday before I got thrown off a group with about 25,000 people in it, because I'm debating everyone on there. There's only about a handful of people who are actually saying they can see this, or they're looking at the things I put, like for example the facts on Kamala Harris. All I'm saying is, go and read this, try to debate any one point, tell me which one's false. You will not get anyone to come at the table. All you'll get is a meme back with an LOL, a conspiracy theorist, some Nazi little drawing or something like that, with someone holding up Trump on a chair, and I haven't even said anything good about Trump. This is how brainwashed they are. Because you're not for that side, you must be a staunch Trump supporter, and I'm not. I'm just against evil, I'm against corruption, and I'm against the stupidity of mainstream groupthink, fucking political tribalists, which we're it's 2 tribes. When 2 tribes go to war, you know that old song. We are facing this now, and I'm thinking to myself, do I really want to live in a country where they've been spineless for so long, they've accepted another country ruling them, right? That's my own country, Scotland, for 317 years. It'll be 318 years next year that we've been ruled by England, plundered by England, suppressed. Our population shows our Even the yeah, our country shows the scars of it. But, from the castles that haven't been done up, to the road infrastructure that hasn't been built, even though we're spending the money to build England's road infrastructure. The fact that England have got a lockdown now, Scotland wanted to go lockdown, they wouldn't pay people any money, so they couldn't lock down. Then England decided to do it, but they're getting money for it. We're meant to be under a thing called the Barnett formula, where money gets equally shared, per capita, between Northern Ireland, Wales, Scotland, and England, who are all putting in a little bit of money. Of course, Wales and that can't afford as much money as Scotland and England can, but per capita, England doesn't put in as much. Of course, the government the government skew these figures a lot of times the same way they skew the figures for COVID-19, where they try and make it look like England has less than what it has because Scotland, Northern Ireland, and Wales have a lot lower infection rates. So they spread it across the whole lot and call it the UK, and they will not allow it to be published in any of these sites in the world as England. It's only published as the UK. You've got to really do a bit of jiggery pokery to unhinge the stats that are much lower in the other parts of the UK. So what I can foresee is when we get to independence, it will be when you write anything that counters the narrative. In other words, you go on there and you say anything that counters the okay, we were for independence. That means that we're all exactly this position in the left. We are all pro. I'm not saying that I'm not anti-gay. I'm not anti anything, but I'm not one of these people who are pushing the LGBTQPZ fucking agenda, because I know that gay people have been around forever, and they've always been accepted, and that they've also had shit from some people, and that will never change because those bigots will always exist. You can't change someone's thinking because that's it's the thought police. So that's why I don't push these agendas. Are full of shit. I am watching Star Trek Discovery, just for a slight sideline here. At the moment, me and my girlfriend are watching that, and it's a lot of fun watching it. But it's just this thing that I've seen in a lot of countries. Instead of you have this misogyny, and then the pendulum swings, and you end up getting misandry. Instead of it just settling in the center and having let's move forward, let's make sex not an issue, let's make color not an issue. It always has to have this swing, and that swing that's done on purpose. The swing in some countries back towards Black Lives Matter. That's to create hostility from white people to blacks, or even not just that, Asian people towards blacks. You'll see plenty of that online, right? Mr. Obvious, he's mixed race, for example. He's against the whole BLM thing. You see a lot of Asians that are. Well, when I was actually living in America, I noticed a lot of Koreans were actually anti-black, which I'm not. But they speak to me thinking that I am because I lived in Georgia, and a lot of white people are. So they, you know what I mean? They just kind of think they can say, I don't know, certain things to you, and it's going to be cool. It ain't. But at the same time, I ain't going to block someone for thinking what they think. You just think what you like. I've said this before. If you want to be a racist, that's your choice. I'm not going to be the fascist that tell you can't be something, right? But yeah, in my country, man, it'll literally be a stage where I would go back there. I'll be living in a country. You might have heard of, was it Darth Vader or Darth Vader or something like that? So, one of these, a guy online, he's quite well known. That's right, Count Dankula. That's it. Guy from Scotland posted a thing with he taught his girlfriend's dog. The guy's a lefty. And he taught his girlfriend's dog to do a Hitler salute, just as a laugh, right? And because he didn't like the dog or something like that. Now, fairly funny thing. If you haven't lost your sense of humor and had a fucking frontal lobotomy, it's a fairly funny thing. No, he goes to jail for, I think, a 2-year jail sentence or something like that. It was something ridiculous. The fact that kids are getting pulled off the street in countries like Australia for things they put on Facebook is just. We're living in a fucking insane world. We're living in fascist censorship, a world of complete, not just social engineering. It really is thought engineering. It's tribalizing people into these groups, and it's very totalitarian. And Scotland, what I can see, is becoming a place where it wouldn't be nice to live, because you wouldn't be able to just relax and have a laugh People, I notice people get offended so fucking easy. Not for themselves. They get offended on behalf of the other. People that have never even met a black person, you know. It's like, you know, they'll say something. I get people accusing me of being all sorts of stuff, and they have no idea what my life is. They don't have no idea how I grew up, the places I've been, the people I've had in my life, and the family that I've got, which was a mixed race family I grew up in. They think they know all these things, and they think they can come from a position of, oh, but I've learned this, you wouldn't know, so you're speaking in this way because you need to do a bit of research. People telling me to do some research. I'm a political junkie and have been for years, but I look at all sides of the argument. These people are just completely biased to one side, and not even that, the side that they're biased to, the things they've learned it from memes. Everything they know about pro-Trump stuff is pro-Trump memes. Everything they know about Kamala Harris or Biden or whoever the fuck else is all from a pro-Obama or pro-DNC meme. They haven't even bothered to. They when they fact check stuff, they go straight to PolitiFact, or they go straight to another. There's factcheckers.org. There's a whole bunch, all owned by the Poynter Institute. And that takes money from the Rockefellers and from Bill Gates. I mean, people, they can't even connect a fucking dot that's one dot ahead of you, let alone connecting a series of dots together. And if you do that, of course, you're a conspiracy theorist. Never minding the fact that conspiracy is one of the most fucking common crimes in the world. Conspiracies are all around us. They've been proven all around us. And you know, and they treat it like conspiracy is some kind of golden egg that people, you know, talk about, that might exist in some myths or fables that doesn't really exist, but people thought it did, you know? It's just insane. They're all around us all the time, and they are happening. And even when you prove them wrong, you say, okay, well, look, you're calling me this, but here's the evidence of it being true. LOL, let me search through for a fitting cookie cutter meme that's loaded already on the Facebook platform in order to sow frustration between people. And it's like, I don't care. It's like people are sending it to me. I don't care if I've got 50 people laughing at me. I don't care. It's been the same since I've been in high school. If I say something, I'm not a chicken shit. I'm not a pussy. I don't have to align with the group think. So I don't mind, you know, when I was a kid in math class speaking up, whole class laughed at me. Miss Tilachek back in Form 6 or 7 in New Zealand. And whole class is laughing because of this geometric thing that I came up with. And then they were all laughing like, ha ha ha, crazy, you know, questioning this theory. I said, I'm not questioning the theory. I'm saying my theory also proves it was something to get a right angle. It was related to some Pythagorean thing in geometry, just a geometric theory. And she ended up conceding in the end. No, but the thing is, it takes one extra step. I'm like, yes, but it's still true. Look at all you retards laughing at me. You all think you're smart. You know, this is just extended on to my adult life, and I look around me and I just think, fuck, we're living in a planet full of dummies. And this, the thing I put yesterday about Elon Musk, for example, as much as he might be a system plant, for the fucking simple hope, and I know I'm sounding like a Q-tard here, who's a Trump worshipping Q-tard who really thinks, oh, Trump is the great white hope, you know. But even just for some hope that there's some part of humanity that's going to fracture away and just get away from dumb. No one under 110 or 120 IQ is welcome. Fuck, it's my dream. Because we are doomed. The collective IQ is coming down and down and down with the runaway population in this world. And I just couldn't imagine a worse hell than being stuck in a place like this. Let's say we end up getting some kind of transhumanism. We get to a stage where we have technology of whatever sort that allows us to live longer. I don't want to live 2, 3, 4 lifetimes surrounded by a bunch of fucking retards. It would just be like a personal mental prison, you know. So I'm just saying now that this is getting to the stage where, of course, I'm going to still drive for Scottish independence any way I can, and even, let's say, if I won't sacrifice myself, as I said before, in any way whatsoever. I won't go to war to help a bunch of morons get their country back when they could have voted for it. You know what I mean? So that's what I mean by I won't be a martyr. Because there's no point fighting for idiots. They wouldn't fight for themselves. It's not going to change anything. You may as well let them get slaughtered. And that includes my own country, right? May as well let England take everything Scotland's got. If they want to be that fucking stupid, let them take everything. You don't deserve it. If you, like they say, you get the government you deserve. Scotland has the government it deserves, and that is England's government. And I'll say this with a, I like our leader Nicola Sturgeon. She is smart, but she's failed to declare independence with multiple mandates. I'm talking 56 out of 59 seats. The very next year, after we apparently couldn't even get a 50% vote, she ends up getting over 90%. What is it again? Yeah, over 90%. I think it is of the seats in Parliament. I mean, that just shows right there that, hang on, this isn't really aligning with what the stats are, because the SNP, the whole reason for that party is Scottish independence. So we already knew it was rigged just by that. That's her mandate right there. And the second mandate comes when Scotland votes 62.8% to go out of the EU. Bearing in mind that people like me even, I can see the EU has issues. And that's why I'm not fully in support of Scotland being in it. But I'm not in support of it being out of it. I'm in support of Scotland being out of it with Brexit, but then negotiating a position back in again that's better than the one that England negotiated for us, which was shite, right? That's where the whole EU gets to steal our fisheries and we only get 10% of them. I mean, which country in the world gives up 90% of their fishing rights? It's insane. So that's just a quick example there. And I understand that all these power structures are just part of some globalist agenda. They could all be friends just pretending to be enemies. Another reason why I'm kind of pro-EU is because if they're not, and they are genuine enemies, then we don't need a dichotomy, we don't need a polarized dichotomy of America and China, because that will lead to what happened with America and the USSR, a potential nuclear war. But we need more separated powers. That's how you do it. Basically what we really need is to go back to everything being separate countries. And I never used to think like that, but now that I've seen the evil of when you centralize things and when you group everything together, it just concentrates power. And that's why, if anything, every country needs to be broken up into little provinces and regions, and or just get rid of governments in total and just find some other way to govern the things like roading and that. Because when it really comes down to it, with technology, the reasons why governments were conceived in the first place, if we had the technology that we had now and the systems in place, no one would have invented government. It only got invented because the lack of these systems that we have right now. And the technologies, like blockchain, for example, for voting. Imagine having every single vote for everything, where, let's say, 1 million people in a country, you have the ability to vote on every single decision. You might not do it every day, but that's your choice. You opted not to vote that day. So every decision doesn't need to have politicians. Every bill doesn't need to have the politicians. You're voting right there. Enough people, some people might go on it every morning. That might be the newspaper. They go on it every day. Right, what's the vote today? Or what's the vote this week? Oh, okay. It's about do you want abortion or not? Oh, well, everything gets down to the people. None of this quagmire of court action and stuff like that. Now, Scotland, not only did they obey, we've got our own legal system, and not only did they obey the corrupt English legal system and this quagmire that they're stuck in, they can't seem to escape this, like an elephant running through treacle to get anywhere. We could fill the section 30 and wait here and there, and then we could ride a unicycle with balancing a fucking apple on our head. It's just ridiculous, and I'm sick of hearing them. They're validating this foreign enemy government. It's just insane. And I've got to see it for what it is. And the thing is, Nicola Sturgeon is actually keeping that going by failing to declare independence, which the whole world would back, because who wouldn't back a country, Scotland, one of the oldest white countries in the world, who's not going to back it? Going for its, to have self-autonomy, self-sovereignty. No one's not going to back it. It wouldn't, I mean, the UN would have to, but by part of that, the way the UN structured it, has to back the situation up. So, I mean, we've got absolutely no trouble. And once the UK's out of the EU can then comment on the situation. It can't comment on the affairs of EU nations. Yeah, of course, Brexiteers don't realise that, because it's not a political union, it's a economic union. But tell that to Brexiteers, they're fucking morons. So, all I can see is in a few years' time, let's say Scotland votes for independence next year, and let's say they're not too daft like they were last time to allow it to actually be totally rigged through everything from propaganda to actual ballot fraud, like what happened last time. Then what would end up happening is, I can just see people going to jail every week for these kind of social media upsets. Oh, so-and-so offended someone and went to jail for so-and-so years. And I can also see a situation where we go to the most despot-controlled, fucked up places in the world and bring in the worst people as refugees. Just flood the country full of it. Now, I understand Scotland's population went low compared to England. It doesn't need a big population. It needed a big population to have a share of any chance of democracy under the UK, because England tripled in population since I was born, and Scotland didn't move, didn't budge, and that was done on purpose through economic stifling by England, or England's government. So, what they'll probably do is these globalists, which I think Nicola Sturgeon might be one of. That's put it this way. She hung the guy who got us the first steps towards independence, which was Alex Salmond, who used to be the first minister, who mentored her whole career. It looks like she hung him out to dry in a false rape case, and he was cleared of all the charges. Got dragged through the mud. He's got his own show on RT called look for Alex Salmond, but yeah, he's a good guy, and so he's obviously rightfully pissed off with her. And you got to remember that they're all puppets. I mean, he's not your typical politician, and he just talks straight up, you know. She does too, because she learned from the best. But I don't know. It just seems to me that she's part of the system. We'll find out on the 31st of December or the 1st of January this year, when she can actually declare independence if she wants to, or she can call a referendum. We'll find out what she does and when she calls it. If she calls it in 5-6 years' time, you know she's part of the system. If she calls it within the year, well, you know, as long as she takes the steps to apply blockchain technology to make an uncorruptible election, like last time was like a banana republic, pathetic little leaflets that you basically write on with a pencil. So that can't happen again. But, you know, even if that happens, that's just the first step in a situation that's like, okay, we're free now, that's cool. What kind of people am I surrounded by? Oh, just like the automatons in every other westernized country who have got sucked into either this, I wouldn't even say right-wing hateful stuff, because the thing is that the Trump people aren't right-wing racists. There's a faction of them that are. There's a faction of the alt-right that are. But a lot of the alt-right are just libertarians. And a lot of libertarians are black and every other color. Because I know these people. I hang out with them in America. I hang out with Republicans and Democrats and Greenies and libertarians. I hang out with all of them. And there's all sorts of people. You get racist Democrats, you get racist Republicans. And I'm talking about racist blacks, racist whites, racist Koreans in all sides. I met tons of Koreans who are conservative, for example, in Georgia. And I met heaps of Republicans up in Michigan, for example, who are into guns and everything, but are actually Democrats. It's just they would appear to be they would appear to anyone else, to any outsider, to be a redneck, or to be a typical Republican, and they're not. And that's the thing, is these people that think they know better, that are debating with me on these Scottish pages because they're saying that, it's a good thing that Biden's in there. Biden will not help Scotland get anywhere ahead. He's a fucking globalist, and that is. Even if he doesn't like Boris Johnson, he knows that Boris won't be there forever. He knows that the Tories won't be there forever, and he'll just be looking for his, England and America, the two biggest weapons producers, probably going to become they're probably going to, once their financial systems collapse, as I've said in other videos, their next agenda would be, well, what do we do now? We need to implement a new one. No one's going to follow it. Everyone's going to start probably using the yuan as the world reserve currency. So who's going to follow them? If they're forced to follow them, but under threat of being bombed, then they might follow them. If they're forced to do it under threat of American sanctions and bombing, if they don't do things their way, we already see this. If you deal with Iran, we will do X, Y, Z. If you buy oil from Libya, we will X, Y, Z. Like this is mafia tactics, and we all accept it. But that's what the American and British governments do. And hey, look, when the French can get away with it, they do it as well. Even though French will probably be on the opposite side, and the Germans will do it as well. You give any country, you allow Nigeria to take over the north of Africa, they're going to act like this as well. This is what power crazy narcissists and psychopaths do. They want absolute control, whether it's in a relationship with one people, whether it's in a group of friends, or whether it's in a national or international stage. They always want control. And nothing's ever enough for these people, you know what I mean? And this is exactly what happens when these narcissists become famous. They get all their sexual desires served, and then they get more and more debaucherous, and then you end up with your likes of your Jeffrey Epsteins of the world, you know what I mean? And there's no shortage of people that he is associated to. Again, here's another one. The left, and I've said this in a previous video, the left are actually, the extreme leftists, when they've got their memes, there's one I seen today, my girlfriend passed me on, it said, and it showed all these things about QAnon, which is ridiculous. QAnon's just a reason to do nothing. People don't realize it's a psyop. Do nothing and things will change, you know. They won't. And then they put in the other placard, it's got there, Epstein didn't kill himself. I mean, they're aligning themselves with, they'll call you a Trump apologist, but they're basically pedo apologists. They're aligning themselves with a narrative that thousands and thousands of specialists, and actually I'm pretty sure that more than 50% of any medical professionals in the world, far more, probably up to 90% or even more, would say once they see the evidence of Jeffrey Epstein's neck and the broken vertebrates and the material that was apparently used to do it, which had no blood in it at all, and couldn't even hold that weight or even inflict such a wound, none of them would believe that he killed himself. It would be 100%. It was like any specialist that looks into the 9/11 situation, and you just say, right, building 7. Fuck the towers, building 7. Look into this, right, where are you? Every architect that you have, every civil engineer, every demolition expert, show them this, and honestly, there's no one in the world who could say the building fell so symmetrically as it did, with the amount of pillars. You need to look into this yourself. If you haven't, rather than just calling me a conspiracy theorist, you need to look into the actual technical aspects of it. It's impossible the way it fell. Because you would have to have, if it was done by an office fire, you would actually have to be sitting there fanning the fires together, making a uniform 3,000 degree fire on every part of the floor. And that would only be possible if you're sitting there with some kind of fucking asbestos suit and a whole bunch of air cannons. It's not going to happen. So, the other one, for example, the removal of evidence, clearing up within 6 days of the accident, using the excuse that we need to get over terrorism, we need to not give in to these people, and by doing that, we're just going to rebuild. Yeah, let's move this rubble away really, really quickly within 6 days before the investigators get to look through it. Everything screams there's something wrong there. I don't know what the fuck it is that's wrong. I just know that what we're being told is not true. But as soon as you say it, the people that haven't even looked into it on a surface level act like they're the intellectual authority on this, that they have done their research and they haven't looked into shit. And it's happening across the board. And the Jeffrey Epstein one is, I see this being lumped in quite often. This they try to lump in, they try to call certain things. It's funny thing is, there's certain things that aren't even conspiracy. It's to do with, did something happen or did it not? It's to do with the take on simple physics in some cases. Well, that's not conspiracy theory. It's the conspiracy theory might be the reporting of it, the misreporting of it, or the cover up of something. But when you're looking into the facts of something, you can't call that conspiracy. If you say that here's some sulfur and here's some carbon, right? We're gonna bake it right now. Look, let's see, it doesn't turn into potassium permanganate, right? Contrary to what it said here, you're a conspiracy theorist, man. It's just fucking wrong. If something's wrong, it's wrong, and that's how easy it is to disprove some of these things. So when I look at my beloved countrymen in Scotland, my brethren, all I'm seeing is, well, put it this way, I'm on both sides. I go on to pages that are pro-Indy and that are pro-union. I go into the pro-union ones to pretend I'm a unionist, to share information so people unwittingly educate themselves, right? So I'll say, look at these fucking idiots. Like, for example, the one I did last week was, I was highlighting how they were giving English money and not giving Scotland money during the lockdown. And I'm like, lucky the English have done their lockdown, so we can get, so that the Scottish people can get can get some money, whatever. I'd worded it a certain way that made it seem like I'm anti-SNP, right? And so it makes people look at, oh, what's this? Oh, I better read what this is about. Oh, hang on. Oh, they're paying. Yeah, and they still come back and they're like, yeah, they'll kind of agree with you, but you know what I mean. You've sneaked information into their mind, and they don't even realize it because you've pretended that you're on their side. And that's the thing. You're never going to get through to someone being on the opposite side. When you're debating, all they're doing is defending their corner. Look at Kamala Harris recently said, for example, it was a debate. Because she does a forceful laugh like Hillary Clinton does and so many other politicians. She was basically laughing and skiting about the fact that she was blatantly lying in the debates just to win, just to point score. So when she was saying shit about Biden, for example, she was getting quizzed as to why she would run with a guy that she was attacking so much in the debates. Well, this just goes to show, it's not about what they believe, it's about what they can do to win. They're all narcissists. Trump's a narcissist. But she's a social. I'd say she's probably a psychopath. Because that woman is nuts. We'll all see for them. It can just be my opinion and what I've read through what she's done in the state of California. But I'd say that any short amount of time when she becomes the president, because she will, Trump's not going to. Doesn't matter. Look, if they've got the hand in the cookie jar, they've even got the blockchain stuff done. They even find some ballots that the Democrat Party have failed to burn before they can be looked at. It doesn't matter. They won't turn this around. The Supreme Court will shut down anything and say, we don't want to divide the people. The same thing happened in Scotland. We don't want to divide the people. But we can see it's completely rigged. If we just look at... No, you can't look into it. So that's the thing. These people know that all you need to do is cheat and you get your way. And that, Bolivia is a prime example. They spent 1 year with the American-backed coup leader before they actually ousted him. They still had to go through that shit. A lot of people got killed, beaten and all sorts, And same as the attempted coup over in Venezuela, it still caused a lot of upset, disruption. Anyway, I won't get into all that stuff, but this was about Scotland and about how tribalistic things have become. And even though I'm a lefty, I do not want to be surrounded by libtards. I'm fucking sick of... I spent half my life, a third of my life in New Zealand. Probably less than that now. Yeah, but about a third of my life in New Zealand. That whole country, that's all it's about. It was a slow indoctrination of neoliberal ideals. Fully socially engineered country, and a misandrous country. Politically correct to a level that is criminal, in my opinion. With a totally rigged legal system, especially the family court system over there, designed to extract money from families that have money, to keep them in courts, regardless of whatever cost, or social cost there is to that family dynamic. Children not be able to see their dad just because by keeping it in court, they can extract more money instead of just letting the kid see his dad, giving the dad 2 days a week custody. No, you'll only get that if you're in the Munger mob, or if you're unemployed. Then they'll settle the case. So. Worth the wise if you are in one of those countries, these misandrous countries like Sweden, Canada, Denmark, there's a lot of them. If you're a man and you need to fight a case, just get rid of your job straight away. There's just no point keeping it. It's gonna hinder you more than anything else. Give up your job, get legal aid, have the system fighting on legal aid, and then that's the best. Whatever you get given, that's better than what you would have got given if you fought it. In 99% of the cases, of course there's going to be exceptions, but 99% of the cases, that's how it is. As soon as they can see there's no money to extract from you, you're going to be all right. Well, get the best deal you can. So I'm going to leave it there. Of course, I'm still going to go back to Scotland. I'm still going to vote for independence when the time comes. I'm going to have to live there for at least 3 months, so I don't usually go back to Scotland for that long, but I will do. I did that last time. I went for maybe 6 months last time. So you can go in the voter register, you know what I mean? You can't just... you got to be living there again, basically. I never go back to live anywhere longer than 6 months, because then I have to start paying tax there, and I'll be damned if I'm going to fucking give money to the Queen or the disgusting, corrupt, elite paedophile ring that we have in the UK. Yeah, alright, well, that's just food for thought, and a little bit about what I'm making of the US elections and the whole farce. Hey, another thing I just got to say is that the Democrats put so much effort on kicking Trump out of the White House that they forgot to rig the other ones. So looks like they've lost the House and the Senate. So that's Nancy Pelosi probably out, but we'll see. Regardless of what happens, left-wingers have set a precedent. That is, when I say left-wingers, the extreme left-wingers, BLM, Antifa. They're not really left because they're fascists. So yeah, I suppose authoritarian is still, you can still be a left-wing authoritarian. That's fine. Okay, they're left-wing fascists, right? Because they're intolerant. So intolerance is an authoritarian thing, right? They have shown people that it's okay to riot, it's okay to shoot, burn, steal, loot, whatever, right? So now, even though the 8 years of Obama, everyone put up with it and was like, yeah, I don't believe he was born here, these fucking birther idiots and everything. It doesn't matter. You're not going to take him out of power. Same shit. When people think there's a hope of removing the president, it's not going to happen. Hillary never went to jail. You know, she's not going to go to jail. Neither's Nancy Pelosi or anyone else. Neither's Trump. All these liberal idiots that think Trump's going to go to prison. No, he's not. No one is. I mean, they don't even have to go to the level that Putin did recently to put in a bill that says that he can never face prosecution. I mean, that's just fucking ridiculous how the Russians can allow that. But that's another story. But yeah, I'm going to rabbit on for hours here. But I'm trying to get to a point I was going to say there. It's quite important. Yeah, nothing will change. The agenda will still steamroll on forward because both sides of dichotomy both feed into this path. It's all a distraction to stop you seeing exactly where we're going, which is total control worldwide. To the stage where they might even be. It seems like they're ramping things up, doing things quicker now. And I've said a few times for quite a long time now that I think things are accelerating because with the internet comes a risk that people red pill too fast. And you get a critical mass of people that can then snowball and take out the system, the oppressive system. So there is kind of a race to control everyone and implement totalitarian laws all around the world before people wake up. And then once they have the weapons they require, I don't even know what those weapons might be. I'm not just talking about misinformation weapons. I'm talking about actual weapons of total control. Until they've done that, they need to put these political wranglings in place. You know what I mean? This is why you can't take any direct action against evil because there's always a law to stop you doing it. You know what I mean? It's to make everything a quagmire. I keep on saying, but it's like everything's in a stranglehold. Everything's in bondage, and these people get off on that. That's like people like Kamala Harris, super cops like her that have put families in jail. For truancy, for fuck's sake. Families that can't afford to even get to school because they got, I know, some stupid parking ticket. And I've seen my girlfriends go through this shit in America. You know, girls in any other country would never even have, not scum girls. You know what I mean? Girls that would never even come in contact with the law in any country. They're going to jail because they didn't pay a parking ticket. Or my other girlfriend that went outside to move her car and she had a fucking glass of wine to get out the snow in Detroit. Just ridiculous shit that would never happen anywhere else. Okay, I'm rambling on now, but yeah, this is Red Pill Diaries. I've been me and you've been you, and let's do this again.